Hey guys, welcome back to Just Friends with Abdullah Reactions. I wanted to react to this very interesting video that I found a couple of days on YouTube to a guy who wants to leave America, his home country, because he can't find a girlfriend. Let's see and react. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I've really been struggling lately to get any traction with the whole dating thing. I've reached out to a number of different women. I've even had some friends try and set me up with women, whether it be a sister or something like that. And there's been no interest. I went on that date earlier in the year. I got the woman flowers. We had pretty good, meaningful conversations. And she seemed like she was disgusted by the whole thing. And it's just, I feel like I can't do right by a lot of these ladies, and I don't know that it's anything within my control. I think a mixture between not being good enough looking for some of these women and also being too boring, like too clean cut type stuff. And it's got me thinking, going forward, I'm 28 right now. By the time I'm 30, if I'm still having these problems, I'm seriously considering just becoming a passport bro
Pretty
and going
young.
to another country, like whether it be South America, Poland, something like that. I am a little bit Polish, that'd be fitting. Philippines. And I don't mean that in like a degenerate type way, like you see sometimes on the internet where people are just going and partying and stuff like that, hooking up with a bunch of women. But I would, like I've said before, like to eventually find a wife, and that seems like more of a reasonable prospect for me than kind of some of the experiences that I've had in America here. And I don't feel like I really identify that much with American culture. I didn't have the typical American experience. I'm not really into football. I don't really like drinking much. So I feel like maybe I would do better in a different culture. But yeah, that's kind of the experiences that I've had lately. I've had a string of failures with dating. I'm not like cynical, really angry, but I just don't want to keep continuing to do the same thing and not getting any results. And I don't want some of the baggage a lot of these modern ladies have, because it seems like the only women that I've been able to attract are women that are like 10 years older than me, wanting me to be a stepdad, stuff like that. And I just have no interest in that. I think I would be doing myself a disservice if I did that. And yeah, I just, that's kind of the
Fair enough.
experience that I've had as of late. I went on a dance the other day, and a woman gave me her phone number. I asked her for it. We had a really good conversation. And at the end of the dance, she said, or at the end of the night, I texted her and said, I hope you got home safe, stuff like that. Next morning, I said, hey, would you like to meet up for a date sometime? And I was very clear with my communication, respectful and all that. And then she doesn't want to meet up. She's busy for the next couple of weeks. And it's just like I'm trying, but I'm just not getting any results. And I feel like women have it so much easier in general. I understand that there's much more of a filter aspect because you don't know where men's intentions are and stuff like that. But like somebody said in my comments a while back, like I said something about preferring to date younger than myself as opposed to older. And somebody was like, well, aren't women, men and women, you're the same age as them? But I feel like a 28-year-old woman and a 28-year-old man probably had, especially in my situation, have had two very different experiences with interest. Like where it comes to a young 20s woman has all sorts of interest, and a young 20s man in general doesn't have much interest. So I do think it's definitely a very different experience. And like I say, I'm continuing to work on myself. I'm continuing to try. I've not given up, but I have to look at it like long term. And I feel it seems like if a 70-year-old dude with a gut can get a decent woman in the Philippines or something like that, I think I should be all right. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and that's what I'm working towards. So, or at least keeping it on the back burner.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you here and shout out to this guy sharing this video a couple of days ago, and I saw it and I was like, I had to react to this. And I think this is a prime example. First of all, the guy seems to be very decent, a good human being. He seems to really have a lot of self-awareness. He's aware that things are not going his way, but he's working on himself. And I think this is a prime example of the world that we are living today, the world of options, the world of I just need to see better, the world of, and we're talking about Western, modern civilization, women that we are living in. And I think, for example, this is also kind of applicable here in Dubai, where I live, where there's a lot of mix of nationalities and there's a lot of the high class, the high living standards. The guys in America, he didn't mention exactly what city, but but I kind of assumed that he's in a major city, because this is a syndrome of the big city, which is where you kind of like you meet women that are just not that into you, and they're not that into you because of the variety of options, because modern women expect maybe you from a different standard. And also I think it's about the way you speak with them. A lot of these women nowadays, they prefer someone who is a bit of extra macho, extra confident, extra um, not showing interest, not showing care. And I don't like to really comment about the things that he's doing. So from the impression that I'm getting from him is that I feel like he's a good, humble, nice guy. And I don't see anything wrong in his approach per se from an idealistic standpoint, that he's good, he's respectful, he texts, he follows up, he's clear with his communication. But unfortunately, you're living in a world where some of these women are savages, man. Some of these women, they have options. They don't really care. You need to show them that you are on a higher level in terms of interest, in terms of value, in terms of time. There's a lot of things that can come into it, and it's more about approach, confidence. These are things that I don't like, don't like to talk about. I mean, game, pretty much. That's what I mean. It comes down to gaming these girls, but I'm not a fan of that. Even though I got some game, but I'm not a fan of that approach, because to be honest with you, I just think it's sometimes it's horrific, and sometimes it's just disgusting. The things that people say to girls to get in their pants, or to or the things that women get triggered to. But in reality, in the reality that we live in, unfortunately, a lot of girls just react to that kind of behavior, react to the bad boy gaming, being cheeky, being mysterious, not being too clear, just kind of like doing a tap dance where sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out. And some men, they just want to be direct and get it over with, and have a consistent relationship, and have just a real authentic connection with someone. None of this bullshit gaming, right? And this guy is just a prime example of the modern world that we live in, where there's a lot of that discrepancy, there's a lot of that vagueness, but also lack of appreciation. And I think women are just all about the high lifestyle, the status man. And social media has contributed to that problem, because social media has showed you people who are vacationing every weekend somewhere. Social media has shown you the 1% um, highest level of male of main potentials. And that's what most women now in in the modern world, in the Western world, in big cities, that's what they seek, that's what they're after that 1 or 2% of people who are fit, a certain look, who are intelligent, who are macho, bad boy, confident. They got that attitude of I'm gonna dump you if things don't go my way, kind of thing. You're just treated as another piece of garbage in the furniture. Listen, and a lot of women like that. A lot of women like that shit, which is pretty sad, by the way. Um, but this is just, and I get it, because when he talks about other countries like Poland, like the Philippines, they're more traditional. There, it's much more straightforward, right? The woman knows her role, the man knows his role, and they're brought up to be very catered towards the guy, towards the man, the king of the household. uh, the way their traditions and values are set up, that the man is ABC and the woman is EFG. That's how it is. It's not something that's too complicated, and it's quite straightforward. Whereas in big cities, Miami, Dubai, New York, Paris, I can go on and so forth. It's just a different level of exposure. There's a lot of more bickering. There's a lot more, uh, um, you know, variety of choice. People are spoiled, The loyalty factor or the influence factor is just completely all over the place. Um, Status and social media play a much bigger role, and the values are just all over the place. And even people that are coming from countries like maybe the Philippines or traditional value countries, maybe like in Romania, Poland, they come to these major cities and they also change because they see all this influence and all this environment. And I don't blame them because it's a very toxic place to be in. A lot of them, to be fair, still hold those values, but they come here and they get influenced by the society and the environment and they're in, and it continues to spiral out of control. I don't blame this guy at all, and that's the reality. And you have to be, unfortunately, looked on in a certain way. I think you need a certain look, you need a certain charisma, um, and women, man, they're savages. They are women. I think this is what people misunderstand, unfortunately, that a lot of girls these days, if you show weakness, if you show a certain attitude that can be seen as, somebody not on their level, bam, they're gonna eat you alive. They're gonna discard you and they're gonna make you feel like shit. And you always gotta be on your toes, and you gotta understand what these women, and that's how the red pill community nowadays, that's what it's thrived on. That's the kind of content that it has thrived on. It has thrived on mischievous, deviant, naughty women who play with men, who fuck around with the guys. That's that's a whole market in itself now, and they tell you themselves, they're like, work on yourself, work on your game, work on your status, work on your who you are as a person. Push up your elevate your status, and that's how, and not give a fuck about these girls, and that's how you're going to get them. But this guy, I feel for him because he wants just a genuine relationship. He just wants a genuine connection, and he understands that why he gotta go through all that trouble, why all those complications, why he gotta go under all that, deal with all this bullshit. He can find someone who loves him and he loves them and he take cares of them. They take care of him as well, and live a good life. And I salute someone like this who understands the world and how it is, and how people can be. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. Just looking, reacting to people's different struggles. And this is just another example of a struggle, right? Another facet of struggle. Can't find a life partner, somebody he wants to be with. Another situation where someone who, I mean, he seems like he's living in a nice place. He probably has a good job. He's a good guy, but that's just another side of struggle. I can't find somebody who likes me, and and I can't find a girlfriend, and that's just an example, right? Not everyone's struggle is the same. And I think that's when we have to find a way to relate to each other and help each other. And I think have a real conversation about how that struggle or how that situation we're in can be overcome. And for me, and my advice to this guy and people like him is, find what works for you. And if you acknowledge that the game or the women in America or in Western societies don't work for you, get out of that shell. The world is so big. We're 7 billion people. We're around 3 billion women. There's somebody out there for you. And that's how it is. There is always going to be somebody out there for you, no matter what. And you just got to find the right place that fits your way of doing things. And that's that. Hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and